4th time's the charm. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chamber of the Wraith. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be talking Lobo and Aquaman today. Now, here's the thing. I seem to have discovered a reliable way to cause the game to crash, which is basically, at least with Lobo, if you activate his trait, then reset the training mode, it just causes it to crash. So we're going to start with Lobo, get him out of the way, and then we'll do Aquaman. We'll be going to Atlantis, which, fun fact, is one of a handful of stages in the game not to have stage transitions. And we're actually going to do Lobo's trait right away, just because I'm sick and tired of basically restarting it. You get nuclear shells, which increases the damage of your shotgun attacks. So for example, this string, you get 24% instead of 14. So you get a lot more damage, from 11% to 16%, almost a free meter burn. And meter burn it, 16.5 to 24. So that means 43%. It also, I believe, increases the range of his normal shotgun blast. Yeah, it does, but it doesn't make it full screen damage. Also, it buffs the damage of his super move, which is unique because normally those buffs go away. Now that I'm done talking about his trait, which hopefully means that I don't have to, hopefully means I don't have to do it again. Let's talk strings. Bad Boy! It's a special cancelable quick attack that goes into mid, and most special attacks will cancel into it. Except for the Lobo. Worthless Scum is very similar, but there's a mid in there that allows for combos. Well, easier combos anyway, instead of just special canceling. But you can special cancel it as well. Look at that. Hired Gun is a side switch that comes off of a fast punish. So if Lobo's cornered, he has a fast way to put the opponent in the corner. Disemboweled is fun too, in a similar fashion. Off of a fast low, get a damage ender. However, this almost never connects in the corner. If I can do it right. If in a combo, it actually doesn't connect, which is weird. Game Over is that string I mentioned before with the shotgun, but the second hit is an overhead, allowing you to trick the opponent with surprise lows to mix them up. And because it's another overhead, Lobo can mix off of the string pretty well, so be wary of that. Mr. Machete comes off of an overhead and launches for a combo, especially in the corner. But you can do it mid. You can do it mid-screen. And then we have Rampage and the Last Zarnian. These use his shotgun, so these would be buffed by the nuclear shells. By how much? 8 and I believe 11. Yeah, 8 and 10 instead of 3 and 5. So around double for the shotgun blast damage. And then Last Zarnian, it's a hard splat that knocks the opponent close with nuclear shells, but knocks them back without. So be wary of that. Spin cycle, pump shot. Yeah. Alright, spin cycle. It's his anti-air grab. Knock an opponent into that. get some extra damage. Amplify it to add a couple more spins and more damage. And to switch sides as well, instead of having to throw in order to have him do this, just the side switch. That's actually not bad damage. Or range. Hang on. I want to see something about hook charge. Okay, so it doesn't increase range. Pump shot. It's a quick shot from the shotgun, and it can be angled. Holding back makes it mid, and down makes it low. Each one does a little bit less damage than the last, but the trade-off is hit reliably mid, mix somebody up with a low, or just raw damage with a high. Then if you amplify it, you get a mid that does almost the same amount of damage. That kind of meets in the middle between the mid shot and the high shot in terms of damage. And of course, this is buffed with the nuclear shells. And the low with nuclear shells pops up. So you can imagine you could do something like that to mix them up for a pop-up. So the tech is there. All you have to do is condition your opponent to think you're going for... Wait, that's not an overhead. Yeah, condition your opponent to think you're going for the overhead, but instead, then catch him with that for a little more damage. Lovely stuff. So Zarnian tosses a command grab. Nothing unremarkable here. Just yeet them into the air. Amplify for a pop-up. Space Hook reaches from about this range, pulls them in, and knocks them back. And then you amplify it to keep them closer and do more damage. And side switch if you want to. Low Space Hook has more range, is a low, and catches out for more damage, especially on amplify. So what you can do is that you, as I mentioned before, go for the low, catch out for damage. But remember, it's a low, so if you're going to end combos, maybe go for the normal Space Hook. Especially if it's a jumbo combo. But if you're going for mix, low Space Hook is good to go as well. But then there's Hook Charge, which is overhead, fast. And while I believe it has the least amount of range on the overhead, the mid certainly isn't lacking in range. Look, I'm already within shotgun range from full screen. And if I amplify it, I get more damage off of the tackle. Unfortunately, you can't cancel this, otherwise this would be a great sort of combo starter, but it is what it is. Now, since we covered trade already, it's time for super move, which is called the Main Man. Just want to show you an example of a combo with this thing. Bam! If you got the green spark on the shotgun, that means you used a bullet for the buff. Pixelated middle finger is classic. But look, 50% damage off of a super move combo. And remember, without it, it's just a normal shotgun blast that does a little bit less damage. Now it's on to Aquaman, who hopefully doesn't cause any troubles with skips and things. There we go. So Aquaman is really good as a mid-range character with a lot of tricky normals like back 1 and back 2 to reach really far. Hell, his sweep almost starts the round, so the opponent even thinks about moving forward. Just duck it and go for a sweep and boom, you got meter off the hop. Aquatic Ace is a partial dial strength. The first 2 light attacks can be inflicted separately, but then you have to dial in the mid and the heavy for damage. But you can put special moves in between this, unlike Katana. Tidal Wave starts off with a quick but awkward-looking mid, then channels into an overhead that on hit confirm can knock the opponent really far back, like almost full screen. and then allow Aquaman to start zoning if he really wants to with this move, or this move, which we'll get into later. Huzzah starts off of this mid, and the mid can also, or this is actually low, but the mid can also catch, but the third hit will not at maximum range. So what you want to do is get it a little bit closer, and then clock them with the mid in order to knock them back. Atlantean Strength starts off with a true mid, and knocks the opponent down. And yes, this is actually a mid despite how it looks. Orin Origin starts overhead, then launches the opponent. A good long-range combo extender, especially when paired up with Deep Sea. For easy 25% damage. Granted, it's low, so the conversion isn't great, but you can at least get something off of Deep Sea. Also, unlike the Injustice 2 version of this string, Deep Sea will not allow you to stay with the corner advantage. This attack will only side switch. Now it's time for special moves, which fortunately Aquaman doesn't have too many of. In fact, I'm actually going to lump Trade in there too, since I have space. Trident Rush, Aquaman's infamous chip friend. Or as I like to call this, fishing chips, because of all the chip damage it does. And then on Amplify, you get good damage for 1 bar. So, let's say, like that, 36% damage, not in the air, and just, ow, 1 bar. And very easy to do as well. From the deep, Trident Smash. This only really combos off of crouching attacks like his poke or his uppercut, but you can combo it needlessly. Let's see if I can do this. Yes. But then on Amplify, it's just enough time to get a back 3 off. Which means more damage. But again, it's just enough time, so be ready for that. Water Shield allows Aquaman to armor through any attacks, and this can act as a sort of flash parry. And then dash in. But it's only dash cancelable, it's not attack cancelable. But if you amplify it, you get a short-range water explosion that knocks the opponent back. And what's a really good thing to do is if you commit it to something that's unsafe, like if you do this and then normally you convert into that, but you can instead convert into that, wait for their punish, then explode in their face for some damage. Trident Scoop cannot be meter burned like it can in Injustice 2, but that's because it combos meterlessly. In fact, it combos meterlessly into itself at the right timing. Only once though. So, what do you do with Trident Scoop? You do this. Oh. Come on. Oh, I can get this. Come on. Wrong input. And I missed the input on back 1, but you can see that I get a lot of damage for 1 bar. Especially when compared to Mortal Kombat 11. Come on. At least I know the... I'll just do boot. Like that, 43%, and they even messed up the input for the extra from the deep. That would make it 45%, and it's still really tasty damage. Trident Toss might even be a better ender because it's a projectile that does 11%. So, let's try it. Wait. Look at that! 45% reliably. And that's with the jump. Oh, I think I could do more with jump too, but that's quasi-unreliable. And finally, before we go into interactables, Water of Life. This allows Aquaman to slip out of standing combos for free, basically. But the problem is that it has a ridiculously long cooldown because it's such a good defensive tool. He gets hit by a normal, he can then block and wait for a punishable opportunity that might not come otherwise. Now, before we get into his super move, let's talk about his stage. Atlantis has 2 interactable stages interactables on both sides of the screen that work in the same way. Gadgets and acrobats will turn the wheel to send a torrent of water into the opponent's face to get distance. Power characters will just do this. Shatter it. And then nobody can use it. That's the general theme with power characters, is that they destroy stuff so that nobody else can use it. Acrobat characters will jump off of this, and gadget characters can have the option to blow it up. Aquaman shatters them. This tube up here is unique in that only gadget and acrobats can use this. They'll slide across it to gain some distance. Powers can't do anything with this one. So, it's onto the throne. The Throne of Atlantis is a background bounce. See what I mean? I mean, I've been using it this whole time, but you get the idea. This tablet here is just like the fishbowl. You explode it, launch off of it, or throw it. And then, I've already talked about this interactable, so we're just going to do it again. And that leaves Aquaman's super, which I believe is called... Oh, it's called Atlantean Rage. I thought it was called From the Deep. Relatively short-ranged overhead. Like, it misses if you do that, but if you do this... Oh, wait, you don't really have enough time to special cancel it. You could do this, I think. No, you don't. You don't get a lot of range with this, but the point is that it's a powerful overhead super. Catch an opponent with this, they're eating 33%. Hopefully this tutorial proves informative and I was actually able to get it out. Finally. Took long enough. As always, if you guys have ideas for for characters I should do, please let me know. Don't forget to be awesome, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Although, actually, I just want to do Lobo's throw since we haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, I forgot, his throw's buffed by the nuclear shells. Not by much, but still. DFTBA.